Welcome everyone to a brand new series here on Wrestling Fortune 44. I'm Owen the Birdman Finch, and I'm here with.
Chris.
And yeah, we're doing tier lists now. I see other people on YouTube do these, and I figured I would try my hand at doing these. We're gonna do the first one, and we're going to do every single Royal Rumble winner. Um, I feel like it'd be easier to start with this because if we did every single Royal Rumble match, we would have to watch every one of them, and there's a lot of Royal Rumble matches we have to watch. And as you can tell, Chris, with how inactive everything has been lately with my channels, there was just no time for us to sit down and watch all those Royal Rumbles because don't forget there's two Rumbles some use now. So one year there was three Rumbles actually. So we figured we'd do winners because we know the winners, and all you have to kind of really do is just kind of look up their story and kind of see where they went pre-Rumble and then post-Rumble. So that's kind of why we're doing it this way. Um, and yeah, we've been trying to do this video for, 2 weeks now, and then, life's just been life, so we just haven't been able to do it, but we're finally doing it, which I'm happy about. But yeah, we have some nice little tiers right here. To put each thing in. We have the trash tier. If we just think it's absolute garbage, throw it in the trash. We never want to talk about this again. Average, it happened. It's kind of middle of the road. We don't really feel anything about it. We have the good tier where it's a good Rumble winner. We don't hate it or anything like that. And then we have a great one, which is like, we love it. We think it's a great Rumble win. And then we have Hall of Fame, which is just like scale breaking. We think it's like the best Royal Rumble winner that's ever happened. Yeah, you looking forward to talk about all these tiers right here? What's gonna go where?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, we're just gonna get started. Obviously, I like the Royal Rumble matches. I figured doing the Royal Rumble winners would be kind of cool because we pretty much know the history of the Royal Rumble winners. We haven't seen every match. Well, at least I haven't. Have you seen every Royal Rumble match or no?
Um. Yeah.
Okay, so you've seen it.
The most part, yeah. Because I went back a few years ago. I think in the lead up to the 2020 Rumble or 2020 Rumble,
Okay.
I watched all of them up until that
Yeah, I
period.
haven't seen all of them. I've seen all the ones.
Tried at least.
Yeah, I've seen all the ones in the 2010s. I've seen all the ones in the 2020s. I haven't seen all the ones in the 90s. Believe it or not, I've seen all the ones in the 80s because there's only been two in the 80s, so it's pretty easy to
Yeah.
watch them. And
I went from I started at the beginning of January, and I think I got to like 99.
okay, um,
Or yeah,
a few of them we've
but I've seen all of
yeah, a
them.
few of them we've reviewed together. Yeah, so let's go. By the way, I forgot the 2000s. I haven't seen all the ones in the 2000s. I just forgot that was. I just completely forgot about that period of time. I guess 2000s doesn't exist anymore. I forgot about it.
It doesn't.
Um, which is weird because that's where most of my childhood took place, and I just completely forgot about it. Um, so yeah, we're just gonna get started. Uh, Obviously, Chris and I have like different lists. That's why we're doing tier lists. So obviously, if we think what differently about how we think others, obviously, we'll talk about it. But yeah, how did you kind of when you were kind of going through ranking all of these tiers and everything like that? What kind of factored into your decision of what was gonna go where? So that way, kind of the audience knows what your mindset was, and I'll kind of say what mine was.
So my mindset was it was based on a couple criterias. One was how many of them that they won.
Yeah.
So if you won more than two, you were going to be in that top tier. Moment for me also two factored in the top tier, and WrestleMania outcome.
That's true.
If the WrestleMania outcome was trash or was average, it was going in that tier. That Royal Rumble win would go in that tier.
Yep. Um, for me, how I kind of factored this was kind of the hype around them. I actually texted you this. I meant to pull it up, but I thought I'd be able to say it off my top of my head. But yeah, so let me find it. Good thing I pinned this because I can find it right away. Um, I know I didn't pin it, so that's not good. Because I did send you this. Okay, plans. Okay. Oh, here it
Oh,
is. Yeah, how we're judging these. So I judged how good the hype was going into the Rumble. Obviously, some of these have to be um different because some of them return at the Rumble. So obviously, you kind of have to factor that in differently. How good their performance was, was it a good? And did it feel right? Because we're gonna talk about these. There's gonna be a few people that who won the Rumble that probably shouldn't have won the Rumble. And I kind of talked about what they did afterwards. So kind of the Mania build up, kind of what the year looked like when they won the Rumble. Because I guarantee you, for some of these people, you wouldn't even believe they won the Royal Rumble. Obviously, some of these you have to factor differently. Like you have to factor the early Rumbles differently because they didn't have the whole stipulation yet where you could get a title shot at WrestleMania. Um,
and does wasn't even the full 30.
yeah, and then obviously some of them I factored differently. Like if they got injured like through the rest of the year or something. I kind of also thought too, like when I said did it feel right, because there's some years where there's a person that definitely should have won the Royal Rumble, and then they didn't do it. So I kind of did that. I also kind of judged the landscape of the product and everything like that too. So let's talk about it. We're gonna talk about our first person. He's the most recent men's Royal Rumble winner. Your boy Cody Rhodes. This was kind of an interesting time in the WWE because he was injured right before last year's Royal Rumble. He
Yeah.
returned last year, and obviously it wasn't a surprise. They did the Triple H 2002 Rumble, which we'll get into it, where they showed like hype packages for him. Um, and he was the number 30 spot, which, was kind of an interesting choice because obviously he was meant to be the underdog, but you're not really an underdog if you come out number 30. And he outlasted.
He's
Huh?
the underground.
He's what?
He's the underdog from the
Yeah.
underground.
We'll get.
He's the underdog from the underground now.
And then he outlasted Walter, who had been in the whole time. He broke the record that year. But this was kind of interesting because this all could have gone south. Because I want to explain this because a lot changed in the company because he was during his injury. Because Sami Zayn got really hot around this time. Like the Bloodline storyline, him being in it and everything like that was like the best thing in wrestling. If you remember the main event of this show, he turns on Roman Reigns. And Cody coming back really could have altered things. They could have ended. We could have had a Rumble 2015 situation where they just turned on Cody, and because they wanted Sami to win it, because obviously they figured, well, Cody's gonna get his moment now. A lot of things could have gone really south because then everybody wanted Sami to get the belts. But no, none of that happened. Cody stayed really popular. I think what kind of worked out in their favor was the 2 night main events of WrestleMania also. Because Sami still got his main event and everything like that at the end of the day, so that helped. And then he failed to win the title at WrestleMania. And to be honest, I don't think it hurt him all that much. I remember when we watched it together. Because at this point we could say we watched it together. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
We were pissed that he lost. We were kind of thinking he was going to be done. But if anything, he's stayed relatively over. He's like the top draw on Raw. I'll admit he's been in a little bit of a waiting pattern recently. He's going to enter the Rumble again. And it's really kind of tough to judge this right now. Like, obviously, in a few months' time, our opinion of this could be completely... I forgot to say this, by the way. Depending on when this video goes out, we're recording this also, by the way, before the Royal Rumble 2024. So, like, if someone's won the Rumble, before if this video comes out afterwards, they're not going to be here. But anyhow, but yeah, so in a few months' time, this could be different because obviously, if Cody doesn't finish the story, we could put this in a different spot. But I'm going to put Cody Rhodes into the great category. I think, I think it really worked out for the company. And honestly, I kind of think of it in a way because this really could have gone south. This could have been really worse off, too, just because, maybe, too, it was obviously in the Triple H era of the booking. So, everyone kind of had faith in Triple H and everything like that. Like, because Cody was always going to win the Rumble. I don't really think we should doubt
Yeah.
that. No matter what era it was in. But I think Cody goes in the great category. What about you? What do you think Cody go? What did you put Cody?
I'm a little biased, but I have in my Hall of Fame
That's fair.
category.
Yeah. Um.
But I think too, like the lead up to WrestleMania, his comeback
Mhm.
in the match itself, I think that's the reason why I put it there. I think that despite the finish,
Yeah.
the match was fantastic.
Definitely.
So
Yeah. So Cody Rhodes so far is in the great. Well, wait. So great or Hall of Fame? What do you want to put him? Do you want to put him great Hall of Fame?
I have my Hall of Fame category, unless if you want me to change it.
I mean, yeah, it's up to you. I think I put great.
Actually, I'll do.
I was gonna.
What do you think it should be to keep the
I say
continuity?
great just because he hasn't finished the story yet.
Yeah, we'll do great.
Um. Then we have Edge. This is 2021 Royal Rumble winner. Kind of an interesting one. This is Thunderdome era, so we can't really judge it. Um, he came back. He was out doing his torn pec. Um, he won the Rumble. Um, if you remember, didn't people crap on this like originally? They hated the fact that he won the Rumble because they wanted like a full timer to win the Rumble, and then he challenged Roman Reigns for the
Yeah,
title at Mania. And then they threw Daniel Bryan in there for a triple threat. They had a fantastic triple threat match at WrestleMania. Um,
yeah,
Obviously it built up Roman Reigns some more as the tribal chief because he did the double stack pin, which was really cool. Then he was gone for a while, and then he came back. He had like his proper one-on-one match with Roman Reigns at Money in the Bank. And then he obviously had the awesome feud with Seth. Yeah, for me, I have to kind of put this in the good, just because I don't really think.
I have it
Yeah,
good. I have it there too.
I don't
Also,
really think Edge really needed the Rumble win. I also think this is the year. This is obviously with hindsight. This is probably the year Bryan should have won the Rumble, just because too. That way, at least that Daniel Bryan Roman Reigns match that happened in the Thunderdome, where it was Bryan's last match in WWE, would have at least happened in front of a crowd. Again, this is obviously revisionist history here, because obviously, how could we have known even WrestleMania was gonna have fans at this time, really? Um,
yeah,
and then I feel like too Edge could have had something else happen at WrestleMania. I think this is the year you could have done Edge versus AJ Styles, since they both kind of really didn't do much. Plus, too, I just think there was a missed opportunity to do that great storyline with Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns going into WrestleMania. Because obviously Roman was always the chosen one. Everyone had to fight for Daniel Bryan. It just would have been, especially too in that Tribal Chief early days, Tribal Chief character, would have been great. Because plus, too, the way Bryan got in there just kind of ruined it. And at least, too, Bryan could have at least won a Rumble. I mean, yeah, it would have been Thunderdome Rumble, but it's better than nothing. So I put him in the good category. Um, all right, then we have Triple H 2016. This is when one of the two Rumbles that's been for a title. Um, so that's cool. At least as of with this recorded. And then yeah, this was kind of an interesting one. Roman Reigns had to defend the title in the Royal Rumble in 2016. He wiped out Triple H at TLC, destroyed him, and Roman Reigns was finally starting to get over a little bit here. Triple H returned here. Um, he immediately dumped out Roman Reigns pretty much, and it came down to him and Dean Ambrose. Really good final two there. Obviously they had to have Ambrose be the final guy because, as you know, Roman Reigns wasn't the most popular superstar at this time. So they wanted Triple H to get his heel heat, and then he won the title. He didn't really do much with the championship. I think he had one title defense at Roadblock, which was like a house show on the network they were doing at that time. He had a random match on Raw for no reason with Dolph Ziggler, just because why not? And then he had a pretty kind of mediocre WrestleMania program and match. And I say that because I was there with Roman Reigns. And yeah, really not much of a Royal Rumble winner. So I'm going to put this in the average category. I think had the WrestleMania match been better, I think Triple H would have been a better Royal Rumble winner, but that was not the case here. So where did you put Triple H's 2016 Royal Rumble win?
I have him in the same category. I have him in the average category.
There you go. Back speaking. Let's stick to Triple H. We have his 2002 Royal Rumble win. This is a better days. You know, he was coming back from his torn quad the first time, um, and he had the same. Well, he had, yeah, same thing with Cody here. He had the video he had the hype packages, the beautiful day hype packages. He had that epic return in Madison Square Garden on Raw, which is like still talked about to this day. Uh, the Rumble winner, you know, obviously was cool. They do fun with us a little bit. I think. I think the thing I've always hated about the Rumble winners is when they have to put up the spot the next pay per view and then they lose it. Because if you remember that, I think he put it because then they started doing because he turned babyface. But Stephanie McMahon was still a heel, so they did the whole storyline where they got a divorce kayfabe wise, and then he lost his shot to Kurt Angle just to win it back anyway. So what was the point of that? And then unfortunately this was hurt because no one really remembers this main event, really. They don't even talk about how good of a match it was because Rock Hogan overshadowed it. And him and Jericho, Jericho wasn't a good opponent for him at Mania because this was during his bad Undisputed title reign. But he still got the main event slot at WrestleMania. And then, he won the title. He lost it to Hogan a few weeks later, and then they kind of realized, I think, his babyface one wasn't really working, so they kind of turned him heel fairly quickly. Also because Shawn Michaels came back, and they figured, someone's got to face Shawn, and it was Triple H. And then basically the Reign of Terror started. So I'm going to put Triple H in the good category. I think what makes it good is the hype behind his return and everything like that. I think that's really what carries. And the Rumble match that he had was good, but everything kind of afterwards was kind of like mediocre at best and everything like that. But what do you think? What do you think about Triple H's Royal Rumble win from 2002?
I put that in the good category too. Like, I mean, the feud itself was okay. It wasn't anything special. The match itself was very good, and Triple H coming back, the hype behind him coming back again. It's tough to put him in the average category for 2002.
Yeah.
But 2016, totally different story. It was very average to below average. This was like Triple H coming back, prime Triple H, like coming back from an injury, came back immediately as a babyface in MSG to a deafening reaction, and just the whole the lead up to the Rumble was good. Him winning the Rumble was the feel good story. But like you said, like him losing his shot was kind of stupid, and then gaining it back, instantaneously almost.
Yeah.
And then the story itself was kind of goofy. Them getting their kayfabe divorce, and then originally it was supposed to be a cheating angle.
Oh, okay.
But it was supposed to be Jericho and Stephanie was supposed to be in a relationship, and it's like Stephanie cheated on Triple H with Jericho, but Triple H was like in the era where he was like, my character wouldn't fall for that, so they squashed it immediately.
Just like the Triple H Kurt Angle,
and they became business associates.
Yeah.
The story itself was goofy. Like, it was Jericho as the Undisputed Champion was like the fucking side character to Triple H and Stephanie. And it's just like the match itself was good, but yeah, it wasn't the best.
And then we have an interesting one. We have The Rock. This one's interesting. The Rumble match he's in is 2000. It's not really all that great of a Rumble. His performance in the Rumble is fairly good. He comes out relatively late, but he lasts, a long time. Unfortunately, the finish was botched because obviously when the Big Show went to do the body slam, and he reversed the Big Show, his feet actually hit first, and they couldn't really hide that. So they turned it into an angle, where again The Rock had to put his shot on the line against the Big Show at No Way Out, and he lost. What? And and then they really fumbled the storyline instead of just, you know, this is definitely like Vince Russo, Attitude Era booking, where um, as good as the Attitude Era is, sometimes they never just like to do point A to point B. They love to take all these swerves and everything like that. Because then all of a sudden it became this big thing where it was a four-way, a McMahon in every corner, and The
Yeah,
Rock lost for, stupidly at WrestleMania because they had Vince swerve and turn heel. Vince McMahon, anyways. Um, and then
just really
and
weird.
then at Backlash, he won the title, which was awesome. That that's an awesome moment where Austin comes back. I think had that happened at Mania, I would probably put The Rock higher, honestly. He still obviously was a big star and everything like that. This Rumble win did kind of help him, because this was obviously at that time where Stone Cold Steve Austin was out due to his neck injury. Um, so,
Yeah.
this kind of showed that he was going to be the guy. I will put this. I was gonna originally put this in the average category, but I will put this in the good category because this is kind of like the moments where The Rock kind of became like the second face of the company. So you kind of have to, give it that little nod. But I think it'd probably be in the great category. Honestly, had it just been had the WrestleMania back. I'm sorry, had Backlash been WrestleMania 2000 instead. But where did you put The Rock?
So I have him in the average category, but the good category is probably where he belongs. I just put it in there because the ending was kind of
Yeah,
botched. McMahon in every corner kind of sucked. The Rock losing kind of sucked because, again, it was one of those things where Vince was kind of over as a babyface, and they didn't really run with
yeah.
it. Had they run with it, I think it would have been a really cool story. But like again, just immediately flipping back to being a heel again. Um, but yeah, like I just put it in the average category. But it's The Rock winning at Backlash. Probably I put it in the good category.
Um, Then we have Shinsuke Nakamura. Remember I mentioned you wouldn't even know they won a Royal Rumble because, I mean, he's being booked better now, but the way he gets booked, like in the later Vince era stage, you wouldn't know it. Uh, Interesting one this because this one is all feelings, all kind of biased here because we didn't think this was gonna happen. If you remember, Nakamura really wasn't doing all that much.
Yeah,
WWE was really fumbling the bag with him. This was one too, like it was reported months in advance that it was gonna be Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar 2 at WrestleMania. So really the only way they could get there was if Roman won the Rumble, and everyone was just dreading it because this was like years after we had a disappointing Rumble win. I think we talked about this at the time. We hadn't had the Royal Rumble winner be right, where it was the good winner since like 2010. Every year had been like a disappointment, minus maybe the Triple H one. I would kind of say that one wasn't too bad, but like, you know, always and usually this is how we feel too. Anytime the main event was reported ahead of time, like you knew that Roman Reigns was winning. There was no doubt. But they booked this really well. Nakamura came in like at a weird number too. I think he comes out like in the teens. It's like 11-14, which is like a number that really never wins the Royal Rumble. So it's like, oh, he's probably not winning, but he'll have like a good showing. And then all of a sudden it comes down to like the final six, which was really like that old guy versus new guy, where it's like Cena, I think it was like Cena, Ray, and somebody else. I forget who it was, but it was like that old god versus new god, where it was like Reigns, Balor, and Nakamura or something like that. It was like a final six where it was like all new god versus like the old generation and everything like that. And when it came down to like the final four, it was getting to be like Roman Reigns, John Cena, Finn Balor, and Shinsuke Nakamura. And it's really weird because Vince was trolling us the whole time because he booked Cena and Reigns as the heroes because he knew that's the people he wanted, but that's not the people that we wanted to win. And then, it got down to Nakamura and Reigns, and we were just like, well, Reigns is winning, but we're going to enjoy this. And then all of a sudden, when Nakamura dumped out Reigns, I remember our reaction, like, we lost it because we didn't expect WWE was actually going to do the right thing. Because even though, like, AJ Styles was the WWE champion at this time, you know, everyone, it was reported for months there was going to be that match also, but we never thought, we lived in that era where the Rumble was just a disappointment that we were so happy when Nakamura won. Unfortunately, this is the highlight of the Royal Rumble win. The build up between AJ Styles and Nakamura was very disappointing. The match itself was disappointing. Obviously, we didn't get the Wrestle Kingdom uh, level match that we wanted. And then he turned heel randomly. He was obsessed with AJ Styles' balls and just continued to low blow him. We never really got an explanation of why he turned heel. He just did. And then he just slid down the card. Um, and really, honestly, he hasn't really recovered until this Triple H era booking where he turned heel and is doing this Japanese thing. You know, he would get a little bit of a push here and there, but never really recovered from it. However, though, just for the moment, I'm putting it into the great category because the fact that WWE actually had him win and everything like that. But yeah, this would probably be Hall of Fame had he won the title and had everything kind of gone better for him. So yeah, I'm gonna put Shinsuke Nakamura in the great category. What about you?
I have him in the average
Oh,
category. I
okay.
thought that the match itself with AJ and the feud was kind of lackluster. It could have been better, but I felt like it was just way too lackluster and way too screwy. The moment itself was great, but it doesn't, for me, it just doesn't fit higher than the average category based on the fact that the feud itself was just kind of, it was just kind of there.
Yeah. I could see that. So should we slide him down to the good category to kind of even it out then?
Yeah.
Because I feel like I can't put in the average category just because of that moment. That moment just really makes it for me. Like I feel like again, it was also years of like us being forced. It was, if you remember, I think the year before this, they put Roman Reigns in the number 30 slot just to troll with us. So it was like, and WWE were like aware of what they were doing. So it was kind of cool that we finally we got one moment at least out of it and everything like that. So that's cool. Um,
Yeah.
then we have this is kind of a sad one for different reasons. Drew McIntyre. Honestly, again with Shinsuke, it's the same thing. It's a great thing, he if I had been able to do this retro, we would have talked about it some more. But we didn't talk about it at the time. This was they really started pushing him. He just started this babyface run that he just recently came out of. Brock Lesnar had like smashed everybody in the Royal Rumble. And he was the one that eliminated him. After like a few entrants, he ended up going on to win the match, obviously, because that's why he's on the list. So I don't know why he else would be on the list if he didn't win. And then, yeah, it looked like he was gonna have finally his WrestleMania moment. They were going all the way with him. This was like, if you remember, this was kind of like Vince and Paul Heyman, because this was when Heyman was writing Raw. Vince and Heyman always got into it about who Heyman wanted to push, but this was like the one that Vince finally, agree with Heyman on. But unfortunately, the pandemic hits. And everything just went down the drain pretty much. Drew McIntyre still beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania in convincing fashion, but it was in front of no fans. No one really wanted to watch wrestling because, well, wrestling sucks without any fans. But, he really went on to carry WWE through the pandemic era. He was pretty much the face of the company during the pandemic era. He won the title a couple times. He had some really good feuds and some really good matches with the championship. And then obviously, eventually, unfortunately, his time had passed by the time fans had come back. He had already lost the title, and they weren't going to put him, in the main event slot really anymore. He was still the main event slot, but, he wasn't challenging for the title. He was just kind of floundering a little bit. The good that came out of this is kind of what's led to his heel turn nowadays. Like, this is kind of the thing that he talks about. I will be a little nice, and I'll put him into the great category, just because it sucks he had to kind of live through the pandemic, but with what he had to work with, I thought he kind of knocked it out of the park. He had great promos, and he was really the guy of the pandemic. What would you put Drew McIntyre?
I put it under great. For specific reasons. The moment itself was amazing. Uh, it really, it really emphasized like the struggle that he had to be, you know, to be the guy to dethrone Brock Lesnar after a Claymore kick, just set the fucking place on
Mm-hmm.
fire, blew the roof off the place. That was amazing. I don't think he can be in any other category.
Right.
Like To be honest with you, like it's really an incredible moment and a match that had some really incredible moments. Um, but yeah, like the him winning the title was awesome. Yeah, it was in front of nobody, but he really carried that pandemic era as their top babyface. Uh, he's awesome. He continues to be awesome. He's more of a tweener now,
Yep.
which I think very much suits him. Not to go very much full heel, but to go tweener at times, like feuding with Damian Priest in the Judgment Day, who are obviously heels. Like, but yeah, like it's it's in the great category.
It would probably be Hall of Fame had the pandemic not hit too. I feel like too a lot of people talk about like Vince didn't make any more stars. Like Drew McIntyre would have been it. It just sucks that it came in the pandemic. I feel like McIntyre would be such a big star right now had the pandemic not hit. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, big time.
uh, and then we have another. We have a bad one. The first bad one of the category. It's Batista 2014. Uh, we've talked about this probably a lot. Maybe not as much as we should have. But YouTube list and everything like that talk about this. Yeah, this one stings. You know, Batista returned in 2014. He was supposed to be a surprise, but someone screwed up and accidentally leaked it out to the dirt sheets, so they kind of had to hype up his return. And he came back on like the go home Raw before the Royal Rumble. This was terrible timing for him to come back. He was a baby face, which he didn't really want to be a baby face. He wanted to be a heel because, you know, that was like the best one of his career was when he was a heel. And then, yeah, this was obviously the middle of Daniel Bryan's popularity, which is kind of crazy to think that we're 10 years away from that now. And everybody wanted Daniel Bryan to win. The story fit. It was everything was right about it. But they really fumbled it. They turned Daniel Bryan heel for no reason by joining the Wyatts, and then he finally turned babyface. If you remember too, it was Triple H. This just shows you the Triple H had to be the one that finally convinced Vince to turn him back into a babyface.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, then Bryan lost to Bray Wyatt in the opener. We were like, okay, he lost, but he's gonna be in the Rumble. They weren't even in the Rumble. Fortunately, poor Ray, he got
He wasn't in the Rumble at all.
yeah, poor Ray. He had to be the one that got booed for that. That's probably the most heat Ray ever gotten in his career, and he wasn't even a heel at this time. The games kept trying to turn Rey Mysterio heel, and they always failed. But all it took was just not putting Daniel Bryan in the Royal Rumble, and Ray was immediately hated. And then
Instant.
Batista also looked very blown up in the Rumble. I remember he didn't look very strong. He didn't look very good because it was his first match in years. But I'm pretty sure too, like even though he came out late, he got very gassed very easily. And then yeah, you know, obviously everybody hated this to the point where they were forced to put Daniel Bryan in the main event. It was always a plan, as they like to tell you all along. But I know it wasn't. And then Batista got to turn heel anyways. I always kind of watched this because a few years ago I watched this. I remember I hated Batista at this time, and I'm like, wow, we really shouldn't have hated Batista because, as you find out, he didn't want any of this. So I think he's got to go in the trash category because yeah, this was just trash. What did you put Batista?
I put him. I'll put him in average because I factored it in every like the WrestleMania match was
Okay.
great. The whole Daniel Bryan inclusion, I factored that all into
Okay.
it. But if you take that away, it's trash. It's garbage. It's a terrible, terrible Rumble.
Yeah, I still put in the because then too like
That's a trash category for me. But that's trash. I agree with trash, but like I included everything in it, including the WrestleMania match. But it really like it's trash.
and then we have Asuka. The same year as Shinsuke Nakamura, so we were kind of, you know, if they were starting NXT Japan in 2018, I would have, if you had said there was reports about that, I would have believed you because both Rumble winners were Japanese. Yeah, not as good as Shinsuke. It's just because it was kind of, you know, she was really the only option to win. Um, the Rumble match that she wins is good. She has a good performance. The final two I don't think was good enough. I feel like it was one of the Bellas that she eliminated, which was kind of eh. Um, and then it felt like she was kind of because I think too you have to kind of factor in the Rumble. Like it did kind of feel like too she wasn't really given a lot of storylines. Like in between the times you have to choose who she wanted to challenge. Um, because it just kind of felt like she was waiting for the champion to be done with the pay per view matches. She was just kind of there. Um, she picked Charlotte Flair, which was cool, because everyone was expecting her. Because if you remember, I'm pretty sure the previous winner just picked his brand's title. This was the kind of when they brought back that year, where you got to choose which champion you wanted to challenge and everything like that. So everyone, it was really unexpected. She picked Charlotte. Unfortunately, she lost her streak. And then yeah, she was booked pretty terribly. After this, she lost to Carmella a bunch of times instead of winning the title. She never got like a redemption match really with Charlotte Flair. I think Charlotte Flair just beats her the next year for the same championship, and then she hasn't really been used very well either up until like really the Triple H era, when she kind of like changed gimmicks and everything like that. So I think she has to go into the average category. Also, too, I forgot about this. Her moment gets completely undermined because Ronda Rousey debuts. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So, I think it has to go in the average category. She doesn't win the title. She doesn't do anything significant, and her moment's immediately overshadowed and everything like that. So, what about you?
So I have it in the good category based on the fact that she was the first winner of the Women's Royal Rumble, but it probably should be in the average category,
I will. I will.
just based on the fact that it was immediately
I will. I
overshadowed.
will bump it up though, just because it was the first. And then I can't tell. This is a Hogan one, but I can't tell if it's 90 or 91 because it's like the same pictures. I think this is 90. It's like the one where he's waving the American flag. I googled this ahead of time. Let me find it. Um,
Huh.
because we got to look at that. I looked this up originally too, but I forgot. So Hulk Hogan, Royal Rumble.
So him eliminating Mr. Perfect was 1990 and Earthquake was
Okay, so
91.
we just have to see which one it is that he's waving the American flag. Um, so is it 1990? Because that factors in where this goes. Again, this is going great. We're doing this, completely unedited and everything like that. Okay, so this is 1991. So Earthquake is 91. Okay.
91.
Uh,
So
yeah.
Earthquake.
Again, we're at our first stages where there's no titles on the line or anything like that. It's just the Rumble. You just get bragging rights. Uh, obviously he didn't need to win the Rumble, but it helped because he ended up challenging Sergeant Slaughter anyways for the title. And he won the title in a shitty WrestleMania match. He stayed champion, I think, the rest of the year pretty much. I think he lost the title to The Undertaker at Survivor Series 91. Then he won it back at Bash at the Beach. I remember the Rumble being pretty good that he won. So I'll put this in the good category. I'm not really too offended by it. It's good. It's fine. What about you?
I just put it in the average category.
Yeah, I won't argue with that. We can go with an average. Uh, so there you go. Again, this is like still the stages where there's no like real
There's no nothing
and
for it.
I
No stake, no nothing.
because it's Hogan. I guarantee you he wasn't supposed to win the Rumble. But he probably politicked to win it. I know he politicked to win one of them. I think that's going to be the next one we talk about. Oh wait, I screwed up. This was 1990. Okay, so we're gonna make a change. This 1990 average. This is 90. We'll just do 91. We'll just do No, this is 91. 1990. This is the one where he politicked to win because Mr. Perfect was supposed to win the Rumble, but Hogan said no.
I was good. Mr. Perfect would have been a better option, but yeah,
I will kind of put.
average. I have it
Yeah,
both on average.
I'll put this one in the average because this is after this he goes on to have the title for title match with the Warrior, the Ultimate Warrior, and then he disappears for a while. He because they were trying to make Warrior the next Hogan, but that didn't really work. And then he came back. Um, I put this in the average though because it really should have been perfect. It was set up perfectly because one, um, you know, they were building up a feud between Hogan and Perfect. That's what. Why not just have him win the Rumble so that way he could have a title shot and stuff. So, you know, but they're both average. So 90 is average and 91 Hogan is average. So, uh, and then we have Batista. Um, this is 2005, so this was kind of like before he became a big star and everything like that. Um, Obviously, they were really hyping up Batista and John Cena at this time. Were going to be the next guys of the company. Batista was going to be the top guy on Raw, and then Cena the top guy on SmackDown. But obviously, that would change later on. Uh, and yeah, they did this perfectly. Batista and Cena were the final two, which is very significant because they went on to be, uh, you know, the top guys of the company. Obviously, Vince tours his squads and they completely screw it up. So, that's awesome. And I am going to factor that in there. Even though his storyline with Triple H was really good because this was when he was really starting to break out on his own. And you had that awesome moment where it looked like he was going to sign to SmackDown, but instead he turned on Triple H, and that's a pretty iconic moment in WWE. He went on to beat Triple H for the title. The Mania match wasn't too good, but then he had a solid one at Backlash, and then he had an awesome Hell in a Cell match with him. He went over to SmackDown. He held on to the World Heavyweight title. I think he was like the longest reigning World Heavyweight champion under the old era of the title. And then unfortunately he got injured. So he had to vacate the title, but he went on to become like the main guy for WWE from 2005 to 2010 when he left the first time. So I have to put him in the Hall of Fame because they basically made a superstar out of this. So you really can't go on. What did you put Batista?
I agree with that too.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree with that.
Um. All right. So then we have another one. We have technically two winners. But it's the same match. It's Lex Luger and Bret the Hitman Hart. So this is kind of an interesting one. So at the time, WWE was kind of in a tough spot here because Vince really wanted to push Lex Luger. He wanted to make him the next Hulk Hogan, but it failed miserably. They tried the Lex Express. That failed. He didn't win the title at SummerSlam because a bunch of people threatened to walk out if he did win the title. But everybody really wanted Bret Hart to win. He kind of got screwed over because Hogan was supposed to put him over at SummerSlam, but he backed out of that. And then Bret kind of got slid down the code. And yeah, they were kind of in basically a Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan 2015 Rumble situation where everybody wanted Bret to win the Rumble, but Vince wanted to go with Hogan. So basically, they did kind of a popularity contest here where they both won the Rumble, and whoever got like a bigger reaction basically was where they went at WrestleMania. Yeah, we kind of have to kind of talk about this a tale of two halves here. Lex Luger had a terrible time of it. If you remember his match at WrestleMania, he loses via DQ. Because they didn't. This was before the WWE did any triple threats or anything like that. So they did a coin flip. I'm sorry, I meant to say WWF because but we're talking about two different things. So, but yeah, WWF did a coin flip, and whoever won the coin flip would get the title shots and everything first. And Luger got it first, and yeah, he lost via DQ. He was never put in the top spot ever again, and he pretty much stayed in like a mid-card status, tag status, until he left for WCW. So he was kind of eh. Bret, it kind of worked out for. He had that classic match with Owen Hart at WrestleMania where he lost, and then he won the title later in the night in admittedly a shitty way. And then him and Owen had a great feud for the title. He had that classic cage match at SummerSlam. They had that great submission match at Survivor Series where he lost it to Backlund. And then, Bret went on to be a staple winner. But you really kind of have to kind of factor this in because it's really stupid that they had two Royal Rumble winners. They didn't just do like a singles match on like Raw or like something to decide who was going to just challenge for the title. I guess they wanted to do this concept once. but whatever. Um, yeah, don't. I want to put. I guess I'll put this in the. This is really tough. It's like good to average. I'll put this in the good category because of the Bret Hart side of things. I think Bret Hart kind of having the year that he had, and the fact that we at least got to pick this time. I guarantee you, if Bret and Luger were in like the 2015 era, Luger would have won the Rumble, no questions about it. But they went the other way, so we have to be kind of thankful for that. Well, so we talked about this off camera. But where did you put the double Rumble winner?
Trash. I didn't like it. I don't like co-winners. Yeah. It's just really sloppy. You pick one, you go with that. Whether it's Brett or whether it's Lex, you pick it. You pick it. That's the winner. It was just a clusterfuck.
Yeah, and it's weird too because that's the whole reason. Because if you remember, technically Batista and Cena, continuity wise, should have just both been co-winners because yeah. What do we do here? I'll put it at average to kind of balance it out.
Average, yeah, balances it out.
But yeah, this is why it's good that they have two world titles now and an elimination chamber to fix. Because if they had that, Logo probably would have challenged for the other title and won their chamber. Or Brett, one of the two. It kind of sucks too because it's the only Rumble that Brett wins. So and he has to share. And he's got to share it with somebody. Then we have Big John Studd. We're in that era again where there's no title shot or anything on the line. It's just bragging rights. He was a big babyface at this time, which I never even knew he was a babyface until I saw this Rumble match. He won it pretty cool because this was the year that Ted DiBiase bought his Rumble number. He had like a late entry, and you thought, he was gonna win the Rumble, but instead Big John Studd did. He didn't really do much. I think he was out of the company shortly afterwards. He went to WCW after this, and then that was it. I think he passed. I don't think he ever came back or anything like that. I'll put this in the average category just because it's fine. Nothing really offensive. Again, but still, it's only the second Royal Rumble on TV too, so you can't really judge it too hard. So I put it like you could say maybe Ted just should have won, but if you watch the moment where he wins, the crowd gets a good pop out of it. But again, he didn't really stick around all that much, so you kind of have to factor that in. So where did you put Big John Studd?
Average.
Then we have Brock Lesnar, the men's Rumble winner of 2022. This is weird. So Roman got COVID in 2022. So they had a plan of what they were going to do, but then they couldn't do it because Roman had COVID. So they had to scrap their plans because I think what was meant to happen, I'm just guessing here, was in the match with Roman and Brock, I think Paul was going to finally do the turn on Brock. Roman was going to win. Brock would have probably just gone into the Royal Rumble, come back and won the Rumble, and then, there you go. Brock probably would have just challenged Roman. But wasn't the case. Roman got COVID, so then Brock was the WWE champion on this night. But then they had Roman cost him the title. And then he came back in the Rumble. He won the Rumble in a really crappy match. It's probably, other than the 2015 Rumble, like one of the worst Rumble matches. It's what got Shane McMahon fired for a period of time until he came back last year at WrestleMania, hilariously. To the comeback, not the firing, obviously. And then, so then Brock Lesnar showed up in this Rumble match, and he ended up winning the Rumble match. Nobody was really a fan of this at the time, just because everyone had wanted to see something new, and it was pretty obvious what was going to happen. And then they fumble this brutally, because then he ends up invoking his rematch clause for the WWE Championship in the Elimination Chamber match. He wins the Chamber because, well, he was always going to win the Chamber, I guess, but then Bobby Lashley got injured, so, like, it made it look weird. They did a winner-take-all match. Roman won the match, and then Brock disappeared for a while. He came back and challenged Roman again randomly. Um, and yeah, he's just been kind of doing his thing. I kind of have to put this one in the trash category. Like, there was no reason for Brock to win the Rumble. They had a different. They could have easily just had either Brock win the Rumble and challenge for the Universal title without including the WWE Championship in there, or they could have just had Brock come out the next week. Because that's the thing that's weird about the Rumble. Like, Vince will have someone win the Rumble that doesn't really need to win the Rumble to get them to the title shot. They could just come out and be like, hey, I want a title shot now. Which he's done in the booking wise anyway. That's because then Brock shows up later in the year. So this is stupid. So I put this in the trash. What did you put Brock's 2022 Royal Rumble win? Yeah. Then we have
I have
Alberto
them
Del
in.
Rio. He made
We'll
history
do the
this night.
trash.
He
I have in the
was
bad
the
category,
first
but
one
we'll
to
do the
win
trash.
a
Trash
40-man
before
Royal
it
Rumble
should
and
be.
the only one. So, there's something for that. This one we have to kind of take off bias here because obviously, well, as you know, I've never been a big Del Rio fan anyways. But, like, obviously, there's been some recent stuff about him that we kind of have to put in the back burner for a little bit because, it didn't happen at this time that we know of. But, yeah, kind of a flat Royal Rumble winner. It was too soon for him to be in this type of spot. They clearly wanted to get their Mexican star in there. He wasn't the right winner. It should have either been Punk or Cena. I know a lot of people wouldn't have liked Cena, but that way Cena would have at least. Cena could have just. That would have been a good way for him to get to the Miz. But if he was gonna win the Chamber, they could have done Punk, and you could have gotten Punk versus Edge at WrestleMania. Um, but they didn't do any of that. They went with Del Rio. He didn't win the title. This was the first year that the Rumble winner opened the show, so that kind of isn't really a good Royal Rumble winner if he's opening the show. I think had Edge had still not wrestled since then, we would probably rank this higher because it would have been Edge's last Mania match, but that's not the case anymore. And then it just always seemed like they tried to push Del Rio, and either nobody wanted it or it was always in the wrong time. Because then I think they were gonna put the belt on him, but then Edge had to retire, so they wanted to put the belt on Christian to give like a feel good story that they undid because then he lost the title for no reason. That's a story for another day. And then he got drafted to Raw. He won the Money in the Bank ladder match. They finally pushed him, but it was at the terrible timing because it was doing the similar Punk stuff. And then he got injured, and then he just never really felt like a Royal Rumble winner. So I got to put this in the trash. Like nothing about everything. He had everything working against him, and he just wasn't. It was too soon for him to win the Rumble, so I put trash. What did you put for Alberto Del Rio? Yeah. Um. Then we have John
I
Cena's
have him
2013
in
Royal Rumble
the
win.
bad
Interesting
category,
one.
but it's trash.
Obviously, no one really wanted Cena to win the Rumble at this time.
Not good.
This was kind of Everyone wanted Ryback, which is kind of weird to say that nowadays, but it's truth. Um, but yeah, he won the Rumble, and then it didn't main event this year, so everyone was kind of thinking, okay, this means Rock, Speed, and Punk for the title, because obviously the big report
It's
was they were going
feeding
to do Rock
time.
versus Cena in the rematch to get Cena's win back. The Rock won the title, and yeah, it did really need to happen. I think I would actually feel better about this Rumble win had Punk and Cena had the main event of WrestleMania, because they never really got to have a one-on-one match at Mania. And if Cena had been the guy to end it, maybe Punk wouldn't have liked it, but they always had good chemistry. They deserved to have a Mania match. This also is kind of what ends up being the leading factors into CM Punk leaving the next year, because this was the year he should have made event in WrestleMania, and he didn't get that. We're kind of in a similar state now, I guess, but again, we have 2-night Manias, so there's no need for that. So I'll put Cena in the average category, because I don't think it's necessarily trash, because I don't really know who else really could have won the Rumble that year. I say at least with the trash categories, there was always another way to do it. But with Cena, it was kind of like there could have been other people, but Cena was probably the better choice. I think if Punk would kept the title and main event in Mania, I think we would feel better about this. But I put him in the average category because um, it's just it didn't really offend me too much. So would you put John Cena's 2013 Royal Rumble win? Okay.
I have it in the good category, but I can see it being in the
There you
average
go.
category. Just because I factor in again, like the match itself with The Rock was really good,
Yeah.
but yeah, like it could have been, it should have been someone else. Punch. It just kind of like telegraphed the fact that it was going to be twice in a lifetime, by the fact that um, Rock won, and they were kind of setting it up that way,
Um, and then
and
we have the first Stone Cold
and
appearance
then Cena winning the
on this tier
Rumble.
list. We have Stone
It's
Cold
just
Steve
yeah,
Austin Royal
it's
Rumble
just overall
2001. Um,
it's
Obviously,
average.
to a lot of people, this is the best Royal Rumble match. Um, a lot of people rank it very highly on the list. Uh, Obviously, the right winner. He had just come back from his neck injury. Um, you know, it made sense for him to win the Rumble. He won it in a pretty badass way too. He had eliminated Kane, who had the most Royal Rumble eliminations up until I think 2014. In a single Rumble, anyways. And then he also, if you remember, got beaten the crap out of by Triple H. Um, and it set up very nicely for him and The Rock to have their match. The feud going into WrestleMania was really solid. Um, the match was great. The thing that sucked about this is Austin ended up turning heel out of it, which really didn't work out very well. Um, it was also kind of diminished by the invasion storyline that eventually went in. But I'm still gonna put it in the good category because we got a good Mania match out of it, and we got a good Rumble out of it, and it's Stone Cold. You can't really go wrong with that. Again, I think we would probably put it higher had he not turned heel and all that type of stuff. I think that kind of keeps him from going up to that category, but still good category. So where would you put Stone Cold Steve Austin? 2001 Royal Rumble win.
Um,
Okay,
I have
I'll put.
I
I
have
will put.
I
I will give you a 2001
I have it in the
Royal
great
Rumble in the
category.
great category
I
as
have
well.
all three of them in the great category because I thought they were all great.
I will. I will. I will give you
2001
that.
had that fucking
We're gonna have a
killer
conversation though about the
Rock
others.
Austin match, but the
And then
ending
we
really
have.
doesn't change the fact.
Might as
For
well
me,
not even
that
be
match was
here. Chris
incredible.
Benoit. Yeah. uh, we gotta talk about it. If we could talk about. I know Del Rio didn't kill anybody, but I feel like Del Rio now is done
Yeah, fuck him.
yet. Um, Actually, does yeah, he does have a family. I had to think about that for a second. Um, oh, it's probably too
Yeah, he
dark
didn't kill
actually.
his entire
Whatever
family.
happened. But anyhow, no, Chris Benoit. For years everybody wanted him to get like some type of world title run in WWE. Um, and this was the year to do it. He came in number one. He lasted all the way to the end. Um, Now I don't know actually. Did he actually break like the longest time in a rumble? Because like they never talk about it for obvious reasons. But did he have the record and then they just took it away from him for obvious reasons, or was it always okay? I wonder if he actually. I wonder if Ray actually beat. I think Ray actually did beat his record because they mentioned that it was the longest one, and because Benoit was still like around. Um,
I
but
think he
yeah,
did.
he went on to. He was the first one to establish the fact that you could choose which title you wanted to challenge for at WrestleMania. Before it would be whatever brand you were on, you would challenge for that title. So Chris Benoit changed that. He was part of that classic triple threat match at WrestleMania with Shawn Michaels and Triple H. Um, and if anything, he could have just been the fall guy too. By the way, like that's how significant his Rumble win was. But then he ended up winning. He had a really good follow up rematch, and then unfortunately his title reign doesn't really go much further than that. It was kind of one of those things where the chase was better than the reign itself, and then um, he lost the title. Still stayed in a good spot on SmackDown /Raw /WWE, and then the Chris Benoit tragedy happened, so no one really wants to talk about it. So with all that, we can put him into the good category. What are you gonna put, Chris? What did you put Chris Benoit? There you go. Uh, then we have Shawn Michaels. I think this is 1995.
I
Um,
put the match itself. I put that in the
yeah,
good
this is
category.
I believe 1995. So this is the year where him and the yeah. So yeah, this is the year that him and Bulldog. It was the first time that two competitors
Oh,
went a whole
wait, this
rumble
this is when he
without being
wins and
eliminated.
shoves
They lasted
Bulldog
all the way through. This is the
off
year that
over the
established
top
that
rope.
both feet had to touch the floor. Um, and then yeah, I hear the Rumble's not very good that he wins, and this is the year they changed the format where it was every 2 minutes he came in versus um no, it was it was something like it was every it was a shorter time frame that you came in. I forget exactly what the time frame. I think it was 1 minute versus 90 seconds. Because it was the first year that two people were gonna wrestle the whole time in the Rumble, and then he didn't win the title at WrestleMania. He lost to Diesel. It didn't even main event. Um, but it showed that there was a potential in future Shawn Michaels, um, and he still stayed in a relatively good spot. I'm pretty sure he turns babyface later in the year with the IC title match, so I'll put this in the good category because too it sets up certain things that gets used later in the Rumble. So I'll put it in the good category. What did you put Shawn Michaels 1995? All right. Should we just grab his 96 one while we're here? Because, that's the next one, anyways. This is not as significant. He still has a
Good
good showing
category.
in the Rumble. This is his coronation year. This is where he beats Brett in the main event in the Iron Man match, and he basically carried the title all year pretty much. He lost it finally at Survivor Series. So I will, because this is his coronation year, I will put this one into the great category. What did you put Shawn Michaels 1996? Um, I just don't think there's anything significant in the 96 one. I feel like if the 95 one had happened
We'll
in
do that too.
96, I feel like
Great
that would be Hall of
category.
Fame. But that's not what happened. Um, and while we're here, let's grab Hacksaw Jim Duggan. He, uh, this one. Look, I'm grabbing him. See, let me. Oh wait, you can't see it on you. Oh, I should be sharing this with you, shouldn't I? I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, grab him.
Hey, this is
Don't
the
let him get
first year we're
away.
doing this. Okay, let me do that. Um, I'm over here like doing all this fancy stuff, and you
Yeah, I
can't
can't
even.
see
You're just
anything.
looking at nothing. Like, okay,
Feel
entire
left out.
screen. Okay.
I'm looking
Yeah, what
at.
was I thinking there?
I'm looking at nothing.
Yeah, just tell me when you can see what's going on. Isn't this great? First tier list. Why didn't you say something?
That's a that's a really good
But yeah, let's grab
list. I can
Hacksaw.
actually
Look, there
see
he
it
is.
now.
See, there he is. Um,
Um,
yeah,
because I was
this was
being
the
a
first Royal
good
Rumble
boy.
match on TV. I'll put this in the good
Oh, now I
category.
can actually see him. He's not running away
It was
now.
the first one. I have, he didn't really get any other accolades in WWE. He was just kind of, he never won any titles. It's a reason they always bring him back for a Royal Rumble. And you gotta like Hacksaw, right? You gotta get. I gotta put this in the good category. I think too they wanted to give like a baby face the first Rumble win, and I think he was the most over at the time. So that was in the match, anyways. So I put him in the good category. Where'd you put Hacksaw? We slapping him now. What the hell are you doing that for? Like the hell, dude. Like,
I had him in the average categories because it was like a nothing
um,
thing. But
then we have Stone Cold
I'd
Steve
slap
Austin
him in the
again. I
good
believe
too.
this is his 1997 victory.
Slapping the shit out of him.
Yeah, this one's a weird
Slapping him right
one.
into the goon.
He's a heel at this time. Um, he wins the match cheaply too because the refs didn't see him get eliminated and stuff. Wasn't that a botched and he's not supposed to get eliminated, but they screwed up or something. I thought I heard that somewhere. Um, and then basically kind of Sean screwed this up because he supposedly lost his smile, and then they had to mix everything
Yeah.
around. Um, you know, I believe they did a 4-way at whatever the next pay per view was, and then Brett won, and then Austin cost him the title the next night, and they just put it right back on Sid, and then it led to Brett versus Austin at Mania, which was really awesome. It's one of the best matches ever. Um, and then we got a crappy match with Sid and Taker. And, Sean just happened to be on commentary. He didn't look like he had a knee injury or anything like that. And he very much had a smile during that commentary session. He was very happy doing that. Yeah. Um, so, I feel like just because of everything that kind of surrounds us. But it's also kind of weird because it would have been better if 1998 had been the first year he won the Rumble, since that was the first year, that he won the title and everything like that. I would put it in the good category. I think a lot of shit just... Let's basically... Shawn Michaels is kind of the reason this goes into the good category. He really fucked this up. What do you think? Where'd you put... you already kind of said where you put Stone Cold 1997. I feel like this one, this one, it can't really go in the great category here. Cannot happen. I gotta fight you on this one. I gotta fight you on this one. We're not doing a thing until we talk about that. We have to have a conversation.
You're a hater.
Hey, I gave you 2000. I gave you in 2001.
You're
you
a
can
hater.
give me this one, and then we can, I feel like
you're a hater.
We could come back. We'll come back to this.
Okay.
Maybe once you hear what I say about his 1998 Rumble win, maybe you'll allow this to happen. But let's get to Charlotte Flair, the first of the woman that's making an appearance on this list. Because, but speaking of haters, you're sexist. You didn't even think we were doing the woman Royal Rumble. You thought we were just doing the men, like.
Baby.
No, we're progressive here. Yeah. So Charlotte Flair was kind of an interesting one. She was always gonna win a Royal Rumble, I think. It shouldn't have been 2020.
That's too bad, isn't it?
This was the year Shayna Baszler should have won it. This was like the hottest period Shayna Baszler had ever been in. She was wrecking shop and just taking everybody out. It was reported for months that she was supposed to win it, but they changed their minds the last minute. And it was very much a Vince change. You could just tell. You could tell when someone plays politics. You could tell when Vince just changes his mind the last second. And this was the latter of that. And then, Shayna Baszler had to go through like a whole convoluted elimination chamber match just to even challenge for the title. And then the good that came out of this was they've established now that you didn't have to necessarily challenge for the titles on Raw or SmackDown. You could challenge for the NXT titles. Because if you remember, this was when AEW started up. They were trying to make NXT a third brand because they were going up against AEW every week. They had Charlotte Flair challenge for the NXT title. And then the pandemic hit. So the match wasn't as big of a deal. And then Charlotte Flair won the title. They really didn't do much with her as NXT Women's Champion. This was at the point where she was being forced down our throat. She was on like every show at one point. And then she lost the title randomly, and then she got injured. And then that was it. So I'm gonna put Charlotte Flair in the average category. I don't even think she needed to even win the Rumble to challenge for the NXT Women's title. I think she could have just done it. I think this year should have been Shayna. Where did you put Charlotte Flair? And then we have Bianca Belair. I've been doing all the talking of the breakdown history. Why don't you kind of talk about Bianca Belair? Kind of like what went on with her in 2021? Yeah, she was on there. Yeah.
She like new to the main roster at that point, or for about a year. She was on a real big hot streak. She was 2021 was her year. She looked really good in the Rumble. But yeah, like she had a great
Okay.
2021.
Um,
Uh,
I was thinking great in
but
Hall of
yeah,
Fame because
I
you
would
know this is
definitely think that.
basically
Where do
what
I have
broke
her
her
right
out
now? I think
into
I have
the
her.
mainstream
I have her in
finally.
the good category.
You know she got the main event of WrestleMania. Yeah, she got the main event of WrestleMania out of it. I'm gonna not put Hall of Fame
Yeah,
because
put
I
her
feel
up
like
there.
you know the Rumble happened in the pandemic. I feel like if it
Put
didn't
her
happen
up
in the
there.
pandemic, I would put it in
She
the Hall of
deserved
Fame.
it.
You know. Yeah, so we're gonna put her on the great. Because she's been basically on the rise since this Rumble win. So you know,
It was a star-making performance for her. That's like
and then we have
she
Yokozuna.
belongs in the great.
Yeah, it's a choice. Obviously, the steroid scandal was kind of going on at this time, so Vince really couldn't push the muscle
Yeah,
guys anymore. So, um, yeah, he went with Yokozuna. The way he wins the Rumble is stupid because Randy Savage forgets it's a battle royal pretty much, and he goes for a pin, and that's how he wins. He doesn't really win dominantly. The match with Brett, I hear, isn't very good at WrestleMania 9. Well, to a Brett standard match, anyways. And then he wins the title, and then Hogan happens. He just beats him in 9 seconds, and then he does get the title back, but, like, you know, it's just kind of whatever. Um, he has a pretty dominant reign as champion, I guess. Uh, this probably should have been Randy Savage, just so that way Brett could have the short pass to him that way. I'm going to put him into. Well, I was gonna put him in the average category, but I think I gotta put him in the trash category. It was really bad. So anything else you want to say about Yokozuna before you move on to the next guy?
yeah, it was
Then
bad.
we have Brock Lesnar, 2003. Um, yeah, good one right here. This was when he started his
No,
face
it's just
run.
really, it's just meh.
Obviously, this was when like he was being pushed. He hadn't even been in WWE a year at this point, at least on the main roster, anyways. Even though it wasn't called the main roster back then, but you get the point. Um, but yeah, he turned babyface. He won the Rumble. He went on to win the title at WrestleMania from Kurt Angle in a really good Mania match where he botched the shooting star press, and then he held the title pretty much all year. You know, he had a pretty decent face run. Um, Obviously, face block at this time, anyways, didn't work as well as heel block at this time. You know, obviously they corrected that later on. It led to though Kurt and Brock having the Clinica matches on SmackDown. I'll put this in the good category though. I don't think it's like Hall of Fame or great, but it's still like good. You know, nothing really. Yeah. Now I'll let you talk about this. I should have let you talk about Cena the first time because he was your boy, but this is a better Cena Rumble win. Why don't you talk? Because this is a big one. Why
Yeah,
don't you
it's
talk about
good.
John Cena's
It's
2008, kind
definitely
of how he got
good.
there and everything like that? His pack.
Um, this is when where he so he had his year-long title reign come to an end because I think he tore his bicep or his tricep. I forget which one it was. I think it was his
It
pec.
happened on Raw, but then
That's what it
Vince.
was. The pec.
Yeah, it happened on Raw, and then
Um,
Vince announced it like on
and I
ECW
forget.
that
I
he was
think it
doing it.
wasn't it like
I think
an
that's what it
ECW
was.
match or something like that, or did it happen? It happened in a match. Um, yeah, and so he was out for a year, which like right in the middle of
Mm-hmm.
his because that was so this is 2008. So that was right after he had won the title from JBL WrestleMania. That was like a continuation. I think it was, or he had, or it was the second reign. I forget which. I forget, but like
Nope.
it was a really long ass reign, and um, I don't think there was any hype video for him in 2008. He shows up
Yeah.
as the number 30 entrant, and you know this is Bizarro World at the time when he came out at number 30 and it blew the roof off the place. That not one fucking person in the crowd in Madison Square Garden, nonetheless, was booing him. He was 100% cheered. He blew the fucking roof off the place, and he won the
Yeah, that's the
match
year they did the triple threat where
from
they
number
threw Triple
30.
H and Orton in there and
And
everything like that. Um, what
went
makes
on to
this even?
WrestleMania.
Yeah,
Who did he face that year?
just for that moment too. Yeah. Um,
Yeah. But I
yeah.
think this is Hall of Fame. This is
Um,
great. That moment, like you have to count moments in for it, and that moment was incredible.
right.
Triple H,
I think
I
too.
think if um
I mean, let's also just talk
Triple
about other
H's
things too.
'02
Like
Rumble,
John
I
Cena
think
was meant to
it
be
would have been
out
a
for
little
like a
bit
year
higher
too,
had
like
they
doing
not
this
announced it ahead of time.
like the torn tricep, and he just showed up. Like I think this is why everyone calls him Super Cena. Like when they say, "Oh, the Super Cena," because he came back from a torn tricep at 6. Yeah, and then I think what makes it
Yeah,
better too, you did say like the Madison Square Garden crowd, which is like a hardcore
came
wrestling
back
crowd,
in,
with you and John
he came
Cena.
back in
And
like
what's funny is when he actually when they kind of
it
they
was
you
crazy.
you'll see it in the crowd too. They'll like realize, oh wait, we hate this guy. They'll kind of stop booing him a little bit. Like it's like I don't know. Um, I think what's funny about I think the thing that kind of ruins it a little bit is they
Yeah,
shouldn't have thrown
that was
Triple H
so
in there and
funny.
do a
It was
triple
like,
threat. I
okay,
think they
okay,
should have
we
just done
actually
Cena
hate this
Orton at
guy, but that was
WrestleMania one
cool.
on one, since that was the time to do it and everything like that. But that mo but that moment you can't put it anywhere else though but Hall of Fame
That
because of that
should have
moment
been.
alone. Like you just can't.
That's what Randy wants to do. Randy wants to have a
Um
one-on-one match with Cena at WrestleMania.
mhm.
Yeah,
and,
I think
yeah, and maybe won the title at
I
WrestleMania
was
too.
thinking of
Um
the Cody
Then
one.
we
Like Cody won't
have
be
Randy
Hall of
Orton
Fame
in 2009.
if they didn't announce it in
He
return.
was the
It's
obvious
his
choice to
return.
win the Rumble that year because he had just punted Vince in the skull on
Yeah,
the Go Home episode, so he's instantly the number one heel in WWE at that point, which is weird because Vince is a heel. Vince, but he was like babyface Vince, so it's weird. Then, yeah, he had a really good storyline with Triple H going into WrestleMania. This is where they did the house invasion, where like he kissed Stephanie McMahon and laid her out with the draping DDT while Triple H was handcuffed. Unfortunately, the WrestleMania match flopped big time. Um, he doesn't win the title, and the only way he can even win the championship is in like a 6-man tag at Backlash, where yeah, Triple H takes the pin, but it's because like there's all this other chaos going on, and then um, yeah, he has a good year in 2009, but I'm gonna put this. It would probably be great, but I'm gonna put this in the good category because of everything that happens with the Mania. I feel like if he won again, it's. I feel like if he won the title, I feel like I'm making it seem like, oh, if you don't win the title, it's a bad Rumble winner. But this is definitely one case where that should happen
yeah,
because
I agree with that
I think
too.
a lot of people are like, oh, they think they don't win the title, but there's a lot of people that do win the championship. We don't even have them in the good category and stuff. Like Charlotte Flair, she won the title. Yes. Um, then we
the
have Edge's 2010
The
Royal
feud
Rumble win.
itself was awesome.
Um, this is when he
The
was gone from his torn Achilles
match at
tendon.
Mania
He
was not
came
very good.
back. I always notice he always returns when he wins the Rumble, so that might be a tie-in for the next time he's in a Rumble, if there is a next time. But he came back. The way he comes back is cool because him and Jericho were just a team, and Jericho had a really good reaction to it. He was a good winner because this was his return and everything like that. Um, he had a pretty good feud with Chris Jericho at WrestleMania. He definitely should have won the title because he didn't win the championship, and then he blew off his feud with Jericho, and then that was kind of it. So I'll put this into the good category. I think it's few. I think the moment's definitely better than everything else. He'd probably be great had he. Yeah. Where'd you put Edge? 2010 Rumble win.
The payoff. I agree with that. The good category. The moment itself was awesome. He came back as a babyface. Um,
Right.
they Him
Um,
losing to
then we have
Jericho at
Sheamus in
Mania,
2012.
not the best choice.
Um,
Edge should have
you
came
could
back and won
understand
for
this
sure.
choice because they were trying to go a new direction. But this really should have been Chris Jericho. He just returned and he was doing the gimmick where he came out and like didn't really talk, and then he was doing like the chain. Yeah, and like the end of the world gimmick. Um, and yeah, it just really it
Oh,
felt like the
the
Vince thought it was too
the run
predictable
around
that
the fucking ring and
Jericho was gonna
shit.
win, so they gave it to
Like,
Sheamus. And this also, but in a way, this does lead to the Yes movement becoming better, like becoming more of a thing. Because I mean, maybe this would have happened anyways, but Sheamus. This led to Sheamus challenging Bryan for the title. It leads to the 18 seconds thing, and then obviously that. But then Sheamus has a really mediocre title reign after this. This is like to babyface, like bland Sheamus, the worst version of him. I think I have to put Sheamus in the average category. Um,
yeah, I agree. I
yes.
uh,
Well, let's start it.
I think it's very average. I mean, the reason why it's in the
Yeah.
average is because of the fact
Uh,
that the yes movement started
oh
because of
boy,
this
we're here
Rumble
to talk
win,
about
though.
this one. Roman Reigns,
I think if
2015.
there was
Why
just
don't you talk about the back history
yeah,
because
like it's
it's
very
the same.
average.
It's the same. It's probably worse than the Batista one. But all you talk about what kind of went into Roman Reigns' Royal Rumble win. Yeah.
So this was this was 2015, right? So the Shield had just broken up, and
Mm-hmm.
they positioned Roman Reigns as being the guy, and it kind of made sense,
Mm-hmm.
but the crowd immediately didn't reject it. They actually were for it. They were still cheering him. He was still getting big positive babyface reactions, and he. It wasn't until
Yeah.
because it wasn't until like maybe like
And
the
they were
winter
having him do a bunch of
ish
stupid, this is
where
when
the
he started doing the
reaction like
really scripted
December,
promos. They would
November,
make,
like leading into the Rumble,
yeah.
the
And this is
reaction
when they were
started to
making him
go
like
the other
a
way.
complete rip off of John Cena and everything like that. Uh, yeah,
Bad ones too.
yeah,
Yeah, because John was going his different direction. He was taking on Hollywood, and
yeah.
it just it just they tried to because with Cena you can
There's
script
a thing
him
that
a
too. A lot of people
certain
talk about. They
promo
also too.
and he can
Roman
make gold with it.
had his hernia,
With
like
with
3 months
Roman, it
before the
sounded
Rumble.
very
Like during that
robotic, and
stage where they were gonna really start to
it
like
just didn't
portray
sound
him
right.
in
It
that
didn't come
way, and
out
then he
right.
missed three. He was out of action for 3 months. I mean, I know Cody was out of action for a significant amount of time, but I feel like Roman Reigns was in like his building stages of when he needed to be shown on like a singles guy and everything like that. Like he missed like a really bad time for his character and everything like that. Uh, well, you're missing a
Yeah,
big thing that there's a
but
big
he
thing that
like
reason why this Rumble
I would put
is
this.
all shit on,
It's got to go in the average
and it's kind of
category.
WWE's fault. They made a stupid decision and brought back Daniel Bryan to be in the Royal Rumble. Everyone thinking he was gonna win, and he probably should have won. Um, and then you got eliminated from the Rumble, like pretty embarrassingly in immediate fashion. Um, if you remember, too, the layout of the Rumble too was just really bad at this time. Like this is a bad Rumble. It's so bad. Like lists. I gotta put this in the trash category. Like this is just like the Daniel Bryan factor really factors in. Because don't forget too,
It's really bad.
a bunch of people afterwards canceled their network subscriptions to the point
Yeah,
where like the site crashed. They couldn't even you couldn't even cancel it. That's how bad it was. Like,
the
um,
crowd turned against it
I
too.
mean, you can see the picture that I chose. It's the Rock's. You can even tell the Rock's reaction when he wins the Royal Rumble and everything like that. Like, yeah, this isn't good. Um, and it ruined Roman Reigns. This is like the Rumble that like ruined Roman Reigns as a babyface for like years. Up until obviously his leukemia came back. Um, you know, a good thing that did come from this Rumble is it's like fueled the tribal chief, what we know as today, head of the table stuff. But it is not worth putting in the average category. You know, it it, it affected the company negatively for like years. This Rumble. So then we have Seth Rollins in 2019. Um, Yeah, overall, this is a good Rumble win. If you remember, he was like the Wrestler of the Year in 2018, putting on classics for the Intercontinental Championship and everything like that. And then, yeah, he wins the Rumble. Um, he chose Brock, um, and he won it in the opener at WrestleMania. I thought this case it worked in its favor because it was like a really hard opener at WrestleMania. Unfortunately, his title reign isn't all that great. This is kind of like when he got stuck in a feud with Baron Corbin for like ever, and he was like stuck there. And this is when he was being kind of booked badly as a babyface. He lost the title for no reason, then won it back, and then the Fiend match happened that we don't talk about. Um, but I'll still put him into the. And this was also too when he wasn't doing himself any favors with his Twitter posts and everything like that. But I'll still put him in the good category because we got a good Mania moment out of it and everything like that. Where would you put Seth Rollins? And then we have Becky Lynch, the same year. It was the couples year to win the Royal Rumble. I think
Yeah,
that's the first time a couple had ever won the
I put it
Royal
in the
Rumble
same
the same
spot.
year. So that's cool. Um, Becky Lynch's was awesome. She wasn't even in the Rumble. Lana got injured, kayfabe wise, and then she was allowed to go in it. She won the Rumble. Um, Unfortunately, it does lead to her main event in WrestleMania. Uh, that's not the unfortunate part, but unfortunately, they do kind of the same thing for WrestleMania 2000, where they just take so many um, swerves with it. They took her out of the match, then they put her back in, and then Vince took her out to replace her with Charlotte. Then she had to earn her way back in, so they kind of like fumbled that part of it a little bit. Then uh, the finish is botched at WrestleMania. But this did lead to Becky Lynch becoming a big star. I'll put her in the great category. I think she's not Hall of Fame. I think she would have been Hall of Fame had they just done Becky versus Ronda 1-on-1 at Mania. Especially now because that's not going to happen really ever. So I'm going to put Becky into the great category. Where'd you put Becky? And I do too. And then we have Ric Flair. This is when the first time the Rumble had ever been
Yeah,
for
that's
something.
great. It was the
Obviously it
whole
was
thing
just
was
for bragging
awesome.
rights, but then they made it for
I
the
love that feud.
WWF Championship. This is where Ric Flair. I think he was the first one ever to do like an Iron Man performance too. He started. He didn't go at number one, but he was at number three. Yeah,
Yeah.
he lasted all the way to the end. Um, the way they went this Rumble was pretty cool. Hogan just as a baby, pretty much, and just
Bell the
he
bell.
basically Sid eliminated him
Not bell the
fairly,
bell, but like
and
close
Hogan just
to it.
gets mad about it and just eliminates Sid. That's that's just awesome. I what a great baby face, You ever realize there's so many moments where Hogan just does not act like a baby face at all. He just acts like a major
Fuck
heel
yeah.
sometimes, and this is one of them.
Let's go
Yeah.
Hogan.
Um, and he had that great promo after the match too, which was great. Um, he had a good match at
He was
WrestleMania
Triple
with Randy
H.
Savage. It wasn't Hogan, which is what it should have been, but we still got that. We lost the title, and then he stuck around for a little bit longer. He had one more title reign, had a really great match with Bret. And then he was gone shortly afterwards. But I'm going to put Ric Flair's. Plus, the Rumble match is great. I'll put him in the Hall of Fame category because he did. Oh, yeah. You forgot about that, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
go like going the plus Bobby the Brain Heenan makes it too.
Then we have
Anytime a fucking competitor even comes close
it's
to Flair,
awesome.
he's that freaking
Then we
out.
have Randy Orton in 2017.
That's the made it the whole
Yeah,
fucking way. I
this
love
is a,
that so much.
this is a choice.
Oh my god, don't touch him. Leave him alone.
So I remember. Um, this is the year there was like so many people that could have won the Royal Rumble that year. Um, and the option they went with
It
was the
is.
option
It
we
would be
didn't
a
like.
choice.
The Rumble match at the time was pretty disappointing at this time. It wasn't bad, but it was like eh. We were kind of expecting more from the Rumble. And then I remember our reaction to this. WWE told us here because this is the year they put Roman Reigns at number 30 just because the fans were pissed about it. And then it's down to him and Roman Reigns. And I remember our reaction when he eliminates Roman Reigns. We were just like, yeah. We were just like, because we didn't want Roman to win. That's how much we hated it. And then I remember that was the one that pointed out because Cena had just won the belt this night. I was like, wait, but this means we're getting Orton and Cena now at WrestleMania. And we were all just like, damn. Oh boy, how we were wrong. Why don't you just talk? I mean, why don't you just talk about it? Yeah, what? Because where does this lead to going? What does Randy Orton do instead of WrestleMania? Because it's class stuff. Yeah.
Um, he has a pretty mediocre WrestleMania match with cult leader Bray Wyatt, and it missed the
I
mark
think this has to go,
entirely.
and also this led to the fire,
Um,
not the Firefly. What was the name of
completely
that
missed
like
the
dance
mark.
they had? Like
Bray
the
used his
last
like fucking
retro.
superpowers, and it failed miserably.
Yeah, I think this has to go in the trash category. I think this has to go in the trash category.
The
It's not good.
it was
Where'd you put Randy?
House of Horrors.
Yeah.
The
And
House
then we
of
have the most
the House
recent
of
Royal
Horrors
Rumble winner,
match.
both men and women's. It's Rhea Ripley. Um, she went the distance. She was the first woman to go the distance.
It's
She's
awful.
lasted the longest in a women's Royal Rumble. Um, they did a good swerve too, because if you remember, it had been reported for months that it was going to be Bianca versus Rhea for the Raw Women's title, and then she went for Charlotte Flair, and it really worked out. They had a banner match at WrestleMania. Unfortunately, her title reign, I think it's gotten better recently, but it's been weird because she, yeah, uh, but I would still put like you know, um, I would still put it in the good.
Super not good.
Okay, now wait, would you say good though because of what's been going on recently? Because I put it in the good
For
category.
the moment, I think I put her in the
Or
Hall
do we
of
want to
Fame
do great? Do we want
category.
to do great? All right, let's do it.
Yeah, yeah, but it's a great. She deserves it.
Um,
The match, the Royal Rumble match,
and then we
and
have
the
the
moment of her
Undertaker in
winning was
2007.
awesome,
I gotta
and the match
now.
itself was
I gotta
was
take a
really
bias out
fucking
of here because
good.
I know what you're thinking. Oh, he's just gonna put him right in the Hall of
So I think
Fame
she
category
deserves at
because
least.
that's how he rolls. But I actually think it is Hall of Fame category though. Um, there was a reason behind it though. There's a breakdown.
You fucking
He's the
Mark, you're
first
gonna
one
put
to
him
win
right
at
in
number
the Hall of
30,
Fame
so that's
category.
good. He has a really good Rumble match, a really good final two with him and Shawn Michaels, and it leads to that awesome feud of the year with Batista that he had in 2007, and the Edge feud that he would go on to have in 2008. So I think he has to go in the Hall of Fame category. Where'd you put the Undertaker? But where did you put the? What did you put?
As MJF would say, you fucking Mark.
There you go. So then we
Uh,
have Rey Mysterio. This is the year that he
I'm
broke the
gonna
Royal
put it.
Rumble record.
Um,
Obviously, he
we'll
dedicated the match
do
to Eddie
Hall of
Guerrero,
Fame.
so this led to him winning because Eddie had just passed a couple months before this. Um, he went the distance, like I said. Uh, I like the moment, but then they kind of bungle it. They do the stupid thing where he has to put his title shot on the line against like Randy Orton, and then he loses. And then the only reason he even gets back in is just Teddy Long just adds him back to the Mania match, so it ends up being a triple threat for no reason. Um, the triple threat match is good, very rushed, but still good. And then he had like a pretty mediocre title reign. Just for the moment alone, though, I'm gonna put it into the great category. I think it's very memorable, and that Iron Man performance is very memorable. But the stuff they do afterwards with it is, and a lot of people say, well, he without the Eddie pass, and he wouldn't even got a world title in, which I disagree with. I think Eddie would have pushed for him to get one, but I think this is a great Rumble just stuff for Rey Mysterio. So where would you put Rey Mysterio? And then we have Stone Cold Steve Austin from 1998. This is Coronation year. He
Yep,
won
I
the
agree.
Rumble,
It's
and
great. The
eventually,
moment
this
itself
is
was
where he
amazing.
became the face of the company, pretty much. He won the title from Shawn Michaels, and it led to the, Austin McMahon food. So I think this has to go into the Hall of Fame category. So now we have to have it go back. And can Stone Cold 97 stay in the good category? I mean, if I have Austin 98 in the Hall of Fame category and Austin 01 in the great category,
Yeah.
will you allow Austin 97 to stay in the good category? Because hey, I could move him down here. I could always move him down to average. We could always do that. But
Yeah.
he said he'll stay in the good category. Um, then we have Vince McMahon.
Hey, hey,
Well, he wasn't in
leave him
1997. He was
alone.
a major heel at this time. He cheated to win this match, dude. He cheated. He's not a good boy.
Leave him alone. He's a good boy.
Um, then we have Vince McMahon in 1999. Yeah, why did Vince
Good
win a
boy.
Rumble? I don't get
He's
it,
a good
but
boy.
he did. Um, this is trash. I say this because um, he ends up forfeiting his title shot to just give it to Austin anyways. So why didn't Austin just win? Like I didn't get that. Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
So I think this is I think this is trash.
Wasn't he? Didn't he
Um,
eliminate Austin too?
it's the first year too where the Royal Rumble winner
It
does
was
like
so
just decided,
stupid.
hey, I can just
Like
forfeit my title
it
shot.
made no
Why did he
sense.
forfeit his title shot? I don't understand that. Like, um,
Yeah, I,
99's a
I it's
weird year for
trash.
WWF. We'll talk about it sometime. So, and then we have one final one that I had to put in here last minute. Braun Strowman, greatest Royal Rumble, because WWE counts this as a Royal Rumble for some reason. I think this is
It's just
trash.
really it's
He doesn't
odd.
get anything from this. It's just a cheap. Uh, yeah. So I think this is trash. The Rumble match is good, but this is just trash. All right, so that's everybody. We're gonna do something fun though.
Just
We're
a
gonna
cheap belt.
rank the tiers now. So I'll ask you.
Trashy.
Who's gonna whoever goes to the left, very left will be the best of that tier. Whoever goes to the very right will be the bottom of that tier. So we're gonna start negatively. We're gonna go to the trash tier. Is Batista's Royal Rumble win worse than Brock Lesnar's, Chris? Mm, I think it. Okay, you've convinced me. Is
No,
Alberto Del Rio's
because I
worse
think in
than
the
Brock
end
Lesnar's?
that that
I think it is.
triple threat match was amazing. So no,
Okay, so I think Brock stays there. Is it worse than Batista's?
it is worse.
Okay. Is Alberto Del Rio's worse than Yokozuna's?
No,
Uh, I would say Roman Reigns is worse than Alberto Del Rio's.
no,
So
that
I think
definitely
Roman
not. I
goes
mean,
all the way. I think
yeah,
Roman goes
definitely
to the
not.
left, all the way to the left. Yeah, I think that's how it works, right? When the heavy, because the left would be the worst, and I think
Yeah,
yeah.
it's pretty awful.
Okay, so I think
Yeah, that's yeah because it
so
would be
Del Rio
left to
go so
right. Left is awful.
so it's
Right is good.
okay, so it's let me
That'd
just
be
make
like
sure I
a
have this right.
one.
Again, this is the first time we're
That would
doing
be
this, so
like a
give us a
one
break.
would
So
be where
it's
Roman is,
Roman,
and a 10 would be where Braun
then
Strowman is, in terms of like a
Batista.
rating scale.
Okay, Okay.
Roman Del
So
Rio,
Yokozuna, is it
Brock,
Yokozuna then,
and
and
then
then
Batista.
Batista, or is it Batista then Yokozuna?
I'm going on like with this now. I'm going on the strength of their WrestleMania match
Okay.
too. Also,
And then go ahead.
yes, yes, because Yoko's is like it's it's not that good.
I would say Randy's is worse than
I
Yoko.
think I mean even I just this next one these I mean
Yep.
like
And then
I think
I
in
think
terms of like
Randy should go where
in
I
terms
think
of
he should go
trash
ahead of Del
like
Rio
the best of the trash. I think Braun Strowman should stay where Braun is.
because I think Vince should go ahead of Del Rio too. Oh, you think
Yeah,
Vince is what?
I think Vince
Um.
should go right behind Roman
Okay, so let's make sure we have this right. So for the
because I
trash,
take
it's
no winner.
Bowman,
I take
Randy,
a Vince
Vince,
win
Del
over
Rio,
that
Brock,
whatever the fuck that
Batista,
was.
Yokozuna, and then Braun Strowman. Okay. Um. All right, so let's decide the average. We have to decide who's more average, I guess. Let's see if we can do this.
Yeah,
Um, I would say, I'd say Triple H. Both. So they go like this.
I think
Which Hogan one is better?
both
I
Hogan's
think. I think.
are 1 and 2.
I would say the 90.
Yeah, because that's the worst.
Yeah, is Triple H is better. I
Him
would say
not.
Triple H
Yeah,
is better
yeah.
than
Whatever one he fucked over Mr.
the double
Perfect,
winners.
and that one should be number one.
Okay.
So yeah, like that. Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. I think in terms of
I think Big
winners, I
John
think
Studd should go ahead of double winners.
Triple H should go to 10. So far to the right, I think,
And
because it's like he won a title, so it's
yeah.
like
Now does Big John yeah.
yeah.
Does Big John Studd
Because
go ahead
again,
of the
it's like
Hogan
it's
win
in
that
that
fucks
era
over
of
Mr.
like
Perfect? Does it go ahead of that? I think it goes ahead of that.
it's the second ever one. It didn't mean
Okay.
anything. There was no
uh are we moving Cena ahead of
no
the
that.
double
I think I'm
winners?
gonna lock those two in
Are we
there
moving the double winners ahead of
because those
Triple
are
H?
very much locked in at that spot. Those are not moving.
Okay. All right, so the good one's gonna be tough. I would say Triple H is I'd say Triple H's
I
O2 is
think
better than Edge.
I think that's
Oh,
good. I think the way that
2021.
is good.
Okay. And I would say
Yes,
Brock 2000
really
is better
tough.
than Edge. I would say Nakamura is better than Brock though, just because of
Yeah,
the moment.
yeah,
Down in the second row. Okay.
yes, it is. Actually, if you were to do
Okay.
it this way,
Is Triple
Knock would
H's
have to
O2 better
go. They
than
would have to go down to the
yeah?
that second row.
Is Triple H's O2 better than Nakamura? Oh wait, yeah.
Yeah. So Triple H 02
Because then we have to do
would be down at the
Nakamura.
bottom.
Okay. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
because
like
that's
Nakamura's a
one.
little better though, so we only have to fight on that one. So we come back. I feel like not. I
Yes.
feel like because Nakamura was unexpected, and it was like at a time where like the Royal Rumble winner was disappointed. Like Triple H, it was pretty
But yeah,
obvious. He was gonna, like,
whatever,
win the Rumble
whichever you feel is like.
too. And then okay, so right now the Rock is like in.
Yeah, that is true.
Um.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is Asuka better than Edge? This is Edge 2021 too.
Yeah,
by
because
the way.
that was terrible.
I have to
That's
be
the
specific.
terrible of the good.
Yeah. Okay. What about Benoit 04?
No.
Putting
Oh, I
putting
feel
aside
like
your
because
feelings
Edge, it was
about
so like
you feel
meh
about what he did.
that like I think those two should be together, locked in at 1 and 2.
So move. we'll move it right here for now.
I think
Right in front of Triple H. Move
um
it right there.
I think it should be moved up for sure. I think it should be moved towards the uh right there, yeah. Because in terms of in ring competition, in terms of him as an in ring competitor,
Okay.
in that match,
I
going
heard
bell to
something, by the
bell
way. I don't know what I heard.
and winning at WrestleMania was pretty impressive. In the whole WrestleMania match,
I want to make sure I did.
it was it was really good.
Okay. I don't know. I thought I heard something. Let me just make sure I didn't. I want to make sure. Okay. Nope. There's a stayed in there, by the way. I just thought I heard. I heard like a noise on my computer, so I wanted to make sure like shit wasn't fucking up. Okay. Let's go back
No, we're good.
to. Okay, so Benoit right now is in
Yeah,
front of
nothing seemed
Triple
like it's
H.
fucked up or anything like that.
Um, Asuka, Edge, and The Rock are locked in. Where do we want to put Shawn Michaels 95? Do we want to put him maybe? Do we want to keep him where he is? But I feel like too because his moments like affected the rules of the match. Like you can like so I feel like because the match he has is bad. I think like for now we'll put it. I think like I think
Yeah,
Hacksaw
he
we should
could be
keep him
moving up
where
a
he
little bit
is.
more.
Yeah,
I think
Hacksaw will
like
keep him where
right
he
there,
is.
yeah.
Austin will
Move
keep
him
where he
like yeah,
is.
right there's good because it can
I
always
think
be moved if in
we
case.
move Randy and
I think 10,
in
9,
front of
and 8 are
Brock
locked in
because
for me.
of what we talked about. We move Edge in front of Brock and Seth in front of Brock.
Yeah,
Is Sean better than Is Sean better than Brock?
yeah. I think Brock moves in right next to
Yeah.
Sean. Yep, right there. That's good. I think
Okay.
that's pretty good right there. Like you
Yeah.
said, like he changed the rules of the Rumble, so I think that's
Okay, I
good
think
the
we know
way
how
it
to do
is.
this now. Let's put the best one
Because yeah, because
to the
Edge's big return,
right, so
he
that
wins
way
it,
we kind of
wins it, and
know.
goes on to
What
face
one do you think is the
Jericho.
best one?
Yeah,
What's the best one out of the great?
that's
I
good.
think
That's
it
good
has
right
to
there.
be. Yeah, I think it to be honest, I think it has to
Immediately.
be.
So
Ooh,
now
I
we're
think it has to.
now we're
I don't
getting
know
into
actually.
tough now.
I ooh, I was thinking Becky because I wanted to put Austin. Becky's probably the best because she has the best outcome. Her, I want to say the Mania build is kind of whatever.
Um,
Yeah,
Becky, yeah, I think Becky Austin,
Yeah. I think we should move.
Becky Austin,
I think Rhea and Bianca are fine where they are. I think Bianca will go.
Ray. I think could
I
stay
think
in that
Bianca will
spot
go to the
because of the
right
whole
had
tribute to
her
Eddie and
win
everything.
been in front of a crowd.
Um,
Um, to be honest, I know most of it happened.
yeah,
I
that's
feel like we
I'm
have
good
to
with that.
kind of put Drew a little like in front of. I feel like we have to put Drew like there. Just
Yes, definitely.
because Drew's different to Raker
Um,
than everybody else, you know. And then
Drew,
yeah. Um, is it still too early to push Cody over Bianca? Because I think it's still too early.
yeah,
Depends
I'm
on
good with that. Or Cody over Sean.
yeah. Well, out of the Rhea's technically the most recent one. So, um,
Yes, I
okay,
feel
Hall
like
of
it's a little
Fame.
bit too
I
early
think Cena
because it's
has
the
to go
most
all the way
recent
to the
one.
right. Because Cena's is probably the best because of the return and everything. I think Cena,
Yeah,
Austin, Batista.
that's
It's Flair.
elite tier. Um,
Yeah. Okay.
Batista.
Rick over
I think
Batista or
Rick
no?
because it was for a championship.
I would, and I'd say we keep.
Yeah,
I'd
that's
say we
good right
keep
there.
everything the way it is now. Okay, so let's do this one more
Yeah,
time. All
I
right, for
think so.
trash.
Yeah. It's
All
just for
right,
the
so this is
title. Yeah, that's
from
good right there.
the best of the trash to the worst. We have
Everything, yeah.
first Roman Reigns 2015. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, you're right. So worst from the best. So Roman Reigns 2015 is the worst. Are we agreement on out of the trash? He's the worst. I think he is the worst.
It'll be the worst of
And
the
then it's
trash to
Randy.
the
And
best because you go from left to
then it's
right.
Randy Orton 2017. Then it's Vince McMahon.
Yes, absolutely.
Then it's Alberto Del Rio. Then it's
Yeah,
Brock Lesnar 2022.
yeah.
Um, then it's Batista 2014.
Hmm.
Then it's Yokozuna.
Yeah,
Then and then Braun Strowman. All
yeah,
right, so the worst. Okay, so we have this one. I think I think
yeah.
because we looked this up, Hogan screwing over Mr. Perfect's.
Yep.
No,
That's it. Yeah,
I think we have this right. Okay, the Hogan's one is very confusing because of the same picture. So, out of the average, the best one we said. No, the worst. Yeah, so this would be right. The worst of the average is Hogan screwing over Mr. Perfect, and then it's Hogan winning in '91. Do we want to move Big John Studd ahead of Hogan
yeah,
91?
yep,
Okay. Um, then the double one, then Lex Luger and Brett would be after Big John Studd.
No, I think we're good
Okay.
in that.
Then Cena 2013, and then
Yeah,
Charlotte Flair, Sheamus,
yeah.
and
That
then
should go
Triple
there.
H
Yeah.
2016, and then the good. The
Yeah.
worst we said was The Rock in 2000.
Yes.
And then it's Edge 2021.
Yes.
Then it's no, not Oksana, Asuka. Uh
Yes.
uh I may have to
Yes.
fight you on the Asuka one though, because Asuka was the first women's Royal Rumble winner, so I feel like she has to be moved a little bit.
Anna, baby.
I think we can move her. Ooh, is Asuka better? But is Asuka better than Hacksaw? I think she might be.
Yeah, she could be moved.
I know Hacksaw was like the. I would probably say better than Austin '97 because of Shawn. Because Austin doesn't even get his title shot.
Yeah.
At least Asuka got a title shot. Ooh, this is a tough one though. Is Asuka better than Randy? Because this is I would say Asuka's better than Randy because at least our match.
Yeah, Asuka. Yeah.
And then is Asuka better than Edge? 2010. I would say no.
Yes.
I would say Edge 2010 is probably better than Seth too. Cause Seth was kind of because of the year because of the year Seth had. But I would say that it could stay the way it is for now. Like Brock is 2003, I think is better than Edge 2010. And then I would say exactly. Shawn 95 is better than Brock 2003.
Yeah.
Benoit is better than Shawn 95. And then Triple H 02 is better than Benoit. And then Nakamura is the best one out of all of them.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so the worst one I think we said in the great category was Shawn. Even though
Yes.
Cody didn't finish the story. I think Sean's like actual Rumble appearance isn't as memorable as Cody's is. And then this is a tough one though. Is Cody actually better than Bianca? Because Bianca won it in the Thunderdome, and but they've both been big stars. But
Yes.
I think we should still stick with, because Cody hasn't finished the story yet. We will keep him where he is. And then Cody would be way further probably. He'd be up there. He'd be in the Hall of Fame category. Um,
Yes.
and then Bianca,
If he had finished the story, yeah.
and that's what you want him. You want him in that Hall of Fame, because the world would know. The
Yeah.
world would know his name if he goes into that Hall
He'd
of
be near
Fame
the top.
category. So,
He's the Hall of
um,
Fame, baby.
is Rhea still better than Bianca? I would say yes.
He's that Hoff, baby. Yes, they will.
And I would say Drew. I know Drew didn't get like
Yes.
an impactful like
Rhea's far
title
more
win and
impactful, in my
stuff, but
opinion.
considering the fact that Drew
Tyron
was
hasn't been
basically the
that great,
caretaker
but the
match,
match
I
was
think he
great and that
deserves it
moment
with
was
his
great.
moves and everything like that. And then Ray is because of his performance and the fact that he even got to this spot, I think is cool. So Ray, it goes there.
Yes.
And then Austin, I think goes here because the Rumble was great. His appearance was great. The build to not Rock Hogan,
Yes,
Rock
he
Austin was
belongs
awesome.
there.
And then even though the heel turn wasn't good, I think all that kind of factors into him going there. And then Becky's the best because she won the Rumble and was a part of the first main event of WrestleMania and everything like that.
Yes.
Okay, then these are Hall of Fame. Like Taker's as good as Taker was, it's just not on. It's just not quite on the level of the
Yes.
others. As much as I hate to say that. And then Batista got, because he got made that night, and Vince tore his quads that night. You can't forget that.
Yeah.
And then Ric Flair, because Vince tore his quads, does that move Batista up a little bit? Where does he go?
True.
All it took was Vince tearing his
Yeah.
quads. Because that's part of
He
it.
goes
That's
up
the whole.
one
That's part
with
of the
Rick.
Rumble.
Move, and then that's for me. That's good.
No, I think Austin and Cena can just stay where they are.
Yeah.
Should we do this one more time, kind of? Because I think
Part of the
we
lore.
haven't decided, but just so that way the fans know.
Yeah.
Yep. I'll just say it one more time though. But saying what decided. So, from worst to best, left to right, trash. Roman
I think
Reigns,
it's pretty much well
Randy
decided.
Orton, Vince McMahon, Alberto Del Rio, Brock Lesnar, Batista 2004, Yokozuna, Braun Strowman. And when I said Brock Lesnar, I mean Brock Lesnar 2022, Randy Orton 2017. So that's all of them there. For average, we have, I'll just say the two Hogans. Hogan 91 is the worst. No, sorry. Hogan 90 is the worst than Hogan 91. I keep screwing that up. And then it's Big John Studd, Lex Luger and Bret Hart, John Cena 2013, Charlotte Flair, Sheamus, and Triple H 2016. For good, from worst to best. The Rock, Edge 2021, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Stone Cold Steve Austin 1997, Randy Orton 2009, Asuka, Seth Rollins, Edge 2010, Brock Lesnar 2003, Shawn Michaels 1995, Chris Benoit, Triple H 2002, and Shinsuke Nakamura. For great, we have from worst to best Shawn Michaels 1996, Cody Rhodes, Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, Drew McIntyre, Rey Mysterio, Stone Cold Steve Austin 2001, and Becky Lynch. For Hall of Fame, from, do I want to say worst to best because it's really not worst, but whatever. We have Undertaker, Ric Flair, Batista. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But we have Undertaker, Ric Flair, Batista 2005, Stone Cold Steve Austin 1998, and John Cena 2008.
It's really best to best.
What a difference too. The two best are like 10 years apart if you think about it. Isn't that kind of weird to think about? Um, so yeah, that's everything right there. You know, that's our tier list. I hope you guys
Yeah, this. Yeah.
enjoyed it. Okay, let me stop sharing screen. I'm like, I don't know if you see what was going on. I had like several. Did you see? Did you see what happened? That's all I can't. Did you see that though? It was like, let me. Like, did you see what happened?
You're over here
It
clicking
was
on
like,
shit.
that was. Awesome. That's the best thing that's ever happened in my life.
that was bizarre.
I bet you're thinking you
It's like
haven't had
a
a good
screen
life if I'm
grab,
saying
the
that,
screen
you
grab,
know?
the screen grab, the screen
Like, what's he
grab.
doing if it now I can't get to full screen anymore. I don't know why. But yeah. How did you like doing our first
It's
tier
pretty sad.
list? Would you do this again for something else? We know how to do this now too. I think a lot of people are gonna think, "Oh, these guys don't know what we're doing." Because if you think about it, we really didn't know what we were doing. We like towards the end, we were just like,
It was fun.
but
Yeah.
yeah, this was awesome. Again, this is our tier list again. We're not gonna do this next year, by the way. Like, we'll probably do this
No,
maybe in
fun.
another 5 years or so if we're still like wanting to do videos and stuff like that. You know. Um, but maybe we'll have a conversation with you about it. Like, where does this person go and stuff. But I'm gonna take a picture of this so that way I don't forget where I put everybody. Cause I feel like we're gonna have this conversation at one point. You're gonna be like, where did we put everybody? I'm just like, I don't remember. I do have to know though. Did everybody? Did did everybody? Did I have everybody kind of in the same category as you did when we originally made this? Like, who changed before I end this off?
We're at
Okay. Who changed for the worst? I have to know. Did anyone change for the worst? Oh, I know. It was at Stone Cold Steve Austin, 1997.
a lot of mine changed around, but for the better.
Because he's just good, you know. He's just a good Rumble winner. He's not a great Rumble winner, not a Hall of Fame winner. He's just good.
Yes.
Hey, that's Shawn Michaels' fault. He shouldn't have lost his smile, you know. That's his fault. You know.
Pretty
That's what happens when you lose a smile. You don't get.
pretty
You don't
sad
go
the
to the
Hall of
great Hall of
Famer
Fame
can't be
category.
put in the Hoff.
Just what happens. Um. Okay, so that's the end of this video. Is there anything you want to like plug or promote before like we just end this off and just done?
I don't have anything. No pluggage,
Yep.
no promotage. Oh well, if you want to actually, um, yeah, this should be coming up soon, and we're doing an aftershock tomorrow night. So just be on the lookout for those for this tier list,
Yep.
obviously,
So
and
yeah, that's pretty much it,
aftershock
guys.
coming
As
up
for
within
my
the
stuff,
next
just check out
couple of
stuff on
days,
the
probably,
Talkinator
or a
channel.
week. I don't know.
When that
Depends
goes
on
up,
when
and
our
then
editor
yeah,
decides
check
that he
out
wants
stuff
to
on
edit
this
it
channel.
and
And
upload it.
yeah, just if you're gonna go over Chris's house, just don't be loud. He'll throw you. He'll throw you out. Just do not be loud. He'll get thrown out in a second. Like, you know. um. So that's pretty much it, guys. And we will talk to you guys later. You can't leave yet, though. I gotta end my audio
Grown,
recording. I
literally.
should. Gotta end that. Hold on. Don't go anywhere. Don't go one place.